Hi everyone, and welcome to the Students First Office presentation for new exploratory majors at UNCG. My name is Angie Allred, and I'm one of the Exploratory Majors academic advisors in the office, and I'll be your guide for the presentation today. Exploratory majors are probably more commonly known as undecided or undeclared majors, but we use the term exploratory, which I'll explain more in just a bit. On behalf of the office, we're excited to bring you some important information as you get started at the G, and we can't wait to see you in August. All right, I'm going to give you a quick summary of our agenda for the presentation, and then we'll dive right in. First, I'll give you an introduction to the Students First Office and the services we provide. Second, I'll get you to start thinking a little bit more about what it means to be exploratory. Next, I'll provide you with some details about our exploratory advising model. I'll talk with you about strategies for how you can explore. Then I'll explain UNCG's General Education Core, also known as GEC. Next, I'll cover some information about course registration and schedule adjustment. And finally, I'll wrap up with our contact information. As you can see on the screen here, we have a much larger staff at work for all exploratory students. One of the advisors on the screen will be your assigned academic advisor in the fall, and everyone on the screen will be available to help you as you arrive on campus in the fall too. So first and foremost, the Students First Office is the centralized academic advising center for all exploratory majors. I'll get into much more detail about how advising works and what you can expect in just a minute. Additionally, we also provide supplemental advising to students in declared majors, which means that after you all declare your majors, you can still come back and see us for additional advising support. We also provide support for students when they encounter challenges, which can be anything from schedule adjustment to when life happens outside your control and your grades may not be what you hope to earn. And finally, we help students get connected to resources on campus to help in their academic success or personal wellness. All right, so let's talk more about entering college as exploratory majors. I'm going to present two questions and ask that you take a minute or so to reflect on your answers. Maybe even pause the presentation and write them down. First, why did you choose to enter college as exploratory? And second, what does it mean to you to be an exploratory major? I'd encourage you to hang on to your answers about why you made the choice to enter college as exploratory. And your answers may include things like to give yourself more time to really get to know yourself, what your major options actually are, or what career opportunities or goals may look like before committing to a major. We may be biased, but in the Students First Office, we think that entering college as exploratory is a great choice. So let's talk a little bit more about what it means to be exploratory. The Students First Office defines exploratory as an active process that requires students' participation. This could include things like attending events on campus, talking with faculty members about their department, meeting with other students in majors that you're interested in, taking online career and personality assessments, or career shadowing someone in a field that you're interested in. Exploration should be purposeful. Your exploration should be tailored to you to help you answer the questions about majors and careers that you have. Looking, learning, trying new things, it's exactly what it sounds like, exploring. This is what we're asking of you, to be actively engaged with your advisor and trust our expertise as we work together to help you make your way towards major declaration. One thing that we always like to point out is that there is a very wide spectrum of exploratory majors. Many students have not eliminated any majors from consideration yet, and other students fall on the other end of the spectrum and have already narrowed down their major options to 2 to 3 and are just wanting to know a little bit more before declaring their major. We want to emphasize that regardless of where you fall on the exploratory spectrum, there's no need to stress. Our role as your advisor is to support and guide you through your exploration to ultimately select the major that is the best fit for you. We want you to be intentionally exploring your options from day one of college. There are some checkpoints for declaration to keep in mind along the way. 30 credit hours earned. The typical first-year student will reach this checkpoint at the end of their first academic year, and we think it's ideal to declare your major by then. 45 credit hours earned. It's fine for you to enter your sophomore year as exploratory 2, but we would suggest declaring no later than by the time you've reached 45 credit hours, usually reached at the end of fall of your second year. This helps to ensure that you don't run out of GEC requirements before you've selected a major. Because if you find yourself in that position, you may find yourself taking courses that could become electives. 60 credit hours earned. The university requires that you declare your major by the time you have reached 60 semester hours or have reached junior standing. Keep in mind that if you're anticipating bringing in AP, IB, or transfer credit, you may already be fulfilling some requirements and therefore may have an abbreviated time to be exploratory. Rest assured that we will make sure you know your own timeline so it won't come as a surprise when it's time to declare your major. One concern or misconception that we hear all the time is that students and/or parents are concerned that they're wasting time or money by being exploratory. We really want to emphasize that exploring in your first year is not a waste of time at all because of UNCG's very well designed General Education Core, or GEC as you'll hear us reference moving forward. You'll still be taking courses to satisfy degree requirements regardless of what major you ultimately decide on, while still simultaneously exploring academic areas of interest. So what's so great about being exploratory? Again, we're probably biased, but we think there are many benefits to entering college as exploratory, and we want to explain our rationale to you so that you feel as good about being exploratory as we do. First, our advising model allows for significantly more face time with your academic advisor than most other majors at the university. We require 2 meetings per semester that are 45 minutes each in length. This kind of time is a hot commodity on this campus when you compare it to other models that may only allow for 1 meeting per semester that's as short as 20 minutes in duration. We have a lower advisor to student ratio than many other units on campus, which allows our model to function in this way. We're also available for additional appointments should our advisees feel they want or need them. Second, as we mentioned earlier, SFO will advise any undergraduate student at the university, which means that even after we've worked together, you found your best fit major, you've declared, and are super excited about your future plans, you can still come back and see your old advisor in the student's first office for any additional support that you need. We work really hard in the student's first office to make ourselves as available as possible to our students. We have plenty of calendar availability for our exploratory students, and we also offer advising assistance on a drop-in basis every afternoon, Monday through Friday. The advisors in the student's first office are trained generalists, so we know about the requirements of every major at the university. This allows us to guide students through very strategic, individualized course selection based on major interests. This ensures that students are selecting the best possible courses based on the majors that they're currently interested in. By choosing to be exploratory, you're giving yourself dedicated time to explore interests and then commit to an academic path. This prevents students from working toward a major, realizing it's not a good fit, then switching their major and realizing they've accumulated electives that they do not need for their new major. SFO uses a method of academic advising known as appreciative advising. This method focuses on a student's strengths and how those strengths can be leveraged to promote academic success and find the best fit major. This approach is the foundation to the way we work with students. I'm going to summarize our advising model for you now so you'll have a good idea about what to expect from your experience with your academic advisor. As we've just mentioned, we function on a 2-meeting model where students are required to meet with their academic advisor twice per term for 45 minutes each time. This is a little different from other advising centers on campus and is helpful for developing a great relationship with your advisor. You'll be notified via email when it's time to sign up for advising meetings when you're on campus in the fall. We have an online scheduling software called Starfish that students will use to schedule appointments. You can just hop online, view your advisor's availability, and select a time that works with your schedule. The first meeting of the semester is the exploratory planning meeting. It occurs in the first 6 weeks of the semester, and that's when we begin to get to know you and develop a rapport, learn about your interests, strengths, and skills, check in on your transition to college and academic performance so far, identify any resources that can support you. We'll teach you the 3 advising tools that will help you learn things like searching for classes and identifying degree requirements, and we'll develop a plan to help you explore your major options. The second meeting is the registration advising meeting. This occurs in the second half of the semester after fall or spring break. In this meeting, we'll do some GPA projection to help students understand where their GPA may end up at the end of the semester. We'll reinforce the importance of utilizing campus resources to help achieve goals. We will review your major interest and check in on the exploration plan that you created in meeting 1 and any changes or new thoughts on majors. And then finally, what students are generally most excited about is developing their schedule for the new term. How can you explore? UNCG's General Education Core requirements are a great way for you to explore academic areas of interest. We'll explain in more detail about this in just a few minutes. Career and professional development is one of our most valued campus partners, and they have a lot of great resources for our exploratory majors to use. We want you to be intentional and participatory in creating an exploratory action plan with your assigned advisor. We need your input in order to help make a plan that's realistic for you. All exploratory majors will be enrolled in FYE 101, First Year Experience Succeed at the G. We have 13 exploratory specific sections where every student in the class is an exploratory major. The curriculum of this class is designed to help aid in a smooth transition to college as well as to start major exploration. It's no magic pill for major declaration, but will help you make progress toward finding your best fit major. We'll expand more on the structure of these classes in just a few minutes. Meta majors. This is a strategy that we've implemented to help students see and understand the connections and overlaps between majors that may not sound super related, but have some common foundational components. I'll expand on this and show you what I'm talking about in just a minute. We've included this graphic to show you how meta majors, majors, and concentrations relate to each other. Let's start with meta majors. A meta major is a collection of majors and concentrations that are complementary or relate to each other in some way. For example, if you don't know what you want to major in, but you know that you enjoy health and wellness, that meta major is a good place to start investigating major opportunities. These are intended to help exploratory majors explore and select a degree path based on their interest, knowledge, skills, and abilities. Here are some of the existing meta majors. Again, these are intended to help you narrow your focus on major exploration. Let's say, for example, you love fields of study related to being artistic and creative. You may want to consider looking at the majors under Arts, Humanities, and Creative Studies. You may find that there are related majors within that meta major that you hadn't considered before, or may have not even been aware of. A major is your primary field of study. It's where you'll pursue a significant portion of your coursework and will be what your degree will show at the end of your time here. As we've mentioned, a major doesn't have to equal your future career, but it's the academic discipline that you commit to. Typically, between a third and a half of the courses that you take in college are in your major or related to it. By completing a major, you have demonstrated sustained, high-level work in one subject. A concentration is a structured plan of study within a major. Not every major has concentrations or requires students to choose one. For example, you could be a sociology major, or you could choose the optional concentration in criminology, which would require specific courses focused on law, crime, and deviance. Nutrition majors must choose one of three concentrations: nutrition science, human dietetics and nutrition, or nutrition and wellness, all which have different course requirements. I previously referenced that students will be given the opportunity to explore majors and careers of interest through their exploratory specific section of FYE 101. Now I'm going to explain this model to you more in depth. Although the student's first office has an advising model that builds in 2 meetings per semester, the feedback that we receive from students is that they wanted even more face time with their advisors. So we came up with a creative solution, which includes our sections of FYE 101. Some exploratory FYE classes are taught by SFO advisors, and some are taught by campus partners with a special interest and training in supporting exploratory majors. Each exploratory majors advisor in SFO will teach a section of FYE 101, and every student in that advisor's class will also be their assigned advisee. Additionally, our advisors also partner with an FYE instructor who is not an advisor in SFO, and every student in that instructor's class will be assigned to the same advisor. So this advisor will be paired to this instructor, and they all share the same students. This partnership allows for plenty of access and opportunities for students to be able to seek out their advisor as a resource, because they are periodically present in the classroom and have frequent contact and communication with their FYE 101 partner instructor. Let's talk more about how General Education Core, or GEC as we commonly refer to it, and how this will help you explore by looking at the GEC Summary Sheet, which you see pictured here. UNCG wants you to be well-rounded students who have knowledge and can speak on a variety of topics. It's important to have multiple lenses and experiences to give you breadth as well as depth to your learning, as well as developed critical thinking skills as you go out into the professional world after graduation. You'll get to dip your toes into many different types of fields of study, which can also help with major exploration. Before I start explaining each requirement to you, I want to point out a couple things first about GEC. This is a list of the bare minimum requirements for general education that will be required of every student. There are 8 categories in total. Based on what major you declare, you may find that there are additional general education courses added on. Second, there is no need to complete everything on this chart in the first semester here. In fact, it's usually impossible to do so unless you're coming in with a lot of credit. These requirements just need to be completed by the time you graduate. You'll find this GEC Summary Sheet included in your resources with your Students First Office module. Let's zoom in on the categories themselves. The first category is Fine Arts, which we refer to as GFA. Generally speaking, classes in this category teach an appreciation of arts versus the creation of art. Each student needs at least one of these. Examples of classes in this category include things like art appreciation, dance appreciation, and film appreciation. The second category is literature, which we refer to as GLT. Courses in this category include reading, analyzing, and interpreting various kinds of literature. Each student needs at least one of these. Examples of courses in this category include Intro to Poetry, Intro to Narrative, and Mythology. The third category is quite a mouthful, Philosophical, Religious, and Ethical Perspectives, or GPR for short. Courses in this category require you to think deeply on a broad range of subjects. Each student needs at least one of these. Examples of courses in this category include Exploring Political Issues, Intro to Religious Studies, and Contemporary Moral Problems. The fourth category is Historical Perspectives, or GHP. This category includes courses that cover a broad range of histories and civilizations. Each student needs at least one of these. Examples of courses in this category include U.S. History, World History, Intro to African American Studies, and Greek Civilization. The fifth category is Mathematics, which we refer to as GMT. Each student needs at least one of these. Examples of courses in this category include College Algebra, Pre-Calculus, and Intro to Probability and Statistics. This is the first category that we've gotten to where, depending on the major that you're considering, our advisors may encourage you to hold off on taking your GMT in your first semester. Some majors require very specific math courses, and we don't want to put you in a position where you would have to take a second math course because the first course you took won't satisfy your major requirements. The sixth category is Natural Sciences, or GNS. Each student needs at least 2 GNS courses, one of which must include a laboratory, which is a class that meets separately from lecture and allows for practical application of what you've learned in your lecture class. Examples of courses in this category include Earth Science, Principles of Biology, Intro to Chemistry, and Nutrition. The seventh category is Reasoning and Discourse, or GRD. These courses are designed to teach students to communicate effectively, how to reason, and how to think critically. Each student needs to take at least 2 courses in this category. One of the 2 GRD courses you must take is ENG 101, which is UNCG's college writing course. The second GRD may be something like Communication Studies, Information Use in a Digital World, or Intro to Formal Logic. The 8th and final category is Social Behavioral Sciences, or GSB. Each student is required to take at least 2 courses from the GSB category. Examples of courses in this category include General Psychology, Intro to Sociology, Economics, and Human Development. If the categories I just summarized sound familiar, that may be because you saw them when you completed the Academic Advising Inventory. Before you registered for SOAR, we gathered information about your preferences, which allowed us to pre-register you for your fall 2020 classes. More about that in a minute. In addition to the 8 categories I just reviewed, our GEC includes 4 different kinds of markers. Markers are just an indication that a course has an additional focus. We won't go into too much depth about these because we won't focus on markers in your first semester, but we just want you to know that they do exist. The 4 markers include GL and GN, Global Perspectives and Global Non-Western Perspectives, which indicate an international or global focus to a course. SI, which is speaking intensive, and WI, which is writing intensive. You will be registered for your fall 2020 classes based on the answers that you gave in the Academic Advising Inventory you completed prior to SOAR. By the end of June, you'll receive an email from students at UNCG that will provide you with instructions for how to view your fall 2020 class schedule, information about how to speak to an Exploratory Majors academic advisor about your schedule, your advising code, which will allow you to make changes to your schedule. You'll also find some resources in your Students First Office Canvas module. These include the GEC Summary Sheet, which you saw on a previous slide, that outlines the 8 GEC categories and 4 GEC markers. The Freshman Friendly Guide for Exploratory Majors. This resource includes the classes that we recommend to first-year exploratory students, broken down by GEC category. All the classes in this guide are classes that first-year students typically enjoy and do well in. On this guide, the far left column has the GEC category that the courses satisfy. The second column has the course number. The large center column includes the course title and description, and then the far right column includes some helpful hints about the course, such as if certain sections are for honors college students or completely online. The course prefix guide will help you understand abbreviations for UNCG departments, such as ENG is the abbreviation for a course in the English department. AP and IB credit sheets. These charts show what you could receive credit for at UNCG based on the AP and IB exams that you took. The TES link. This will take you to a part of the UNCG website called the Transfer Equivalency Search. If you took courses at a community college or another university, you can search for the UNCG class that you may receive credit for. Instructions for registration. This step-by-step sheet will help walk you through the steps in UNCG to make changes to your fall 2020 schedule, click by click. UNCG Building Abbreviation Guide. This guide will help you determine the buildings that your classes are in. Once you receive your fall 2020 schedule, you'll see abbreviations like SOEB, which stands for School of Education Building, where that class will meet. And the campus map, which you'll use to get a sense of the distance between your classes. You may be wondering about foreign language or noticed that I didn't mention it when talking about GEC. That's because not all majors require a foreign language. If you indicated a strong preference in majors that require foreign language, you will receive instructions via email about how to take a placement evaluation. We often recommend to our exploratory students that they wait to take a math course until after they've narrowed down their major choices to only a few. However, if you indicated a strong preference for majors that require calculus, MAT 191, you'll receive an email with instructions to take the Calculus Readiness Diagnostic Test. Thanks for joining me today to learn more about being an exploratory major at UNCG. We can't wait to see you in August. In the meantime, you can follow us on all these social media platforms, which are a great way to find out more about advising, such as withdrawal dates and drop-in availability. Have a great day.